So my wife said this thing to me the other day, dark psychology, and I'm like, what is that, right? And it brought something out of me to where I thought about it every day for like the next 7 days. I'm like, what's dark psychology, right? And I'm like, I do that to myself. From the time I woke up, I think the first thing that I had going was a client of mine. They called me like, oh man, I don't know about this. And I'm like, oh, trust me, you know about it. You knew about it when we talked about it. Mm-hmm. And so then it was like, well, I don't know. What if it doesn't perform? I'm like, I'm kind of rigging the game and fixing the fight. I'm not gonna do it if it doesn't perform. Like I don't want to have anything to do with it if it's not going. Like obviously investing is a risk. Yeah. But I'm like, dude, I wouldn't even be doing this at all whatsoever if I didn't think that there was something that we were going to actually be able to execute and gain from.
Yes.
So that was that, and then check the traffic report on my for my flight, and I'm like, oh my, it's rain. So like in Houston, when it rains, that's like a hurricane. Like everybody starts driving scared, and I was like, oh my God. So then there was that. Luckily, I had a tail flight right behind that flight, so there was nothing to worry about. I was like, just have a quick IPA and a basket of fries, good to go. Then I had one of my agents, hey, I got this guy. He wants to do an airship deal. I'm like, yeah, I talked to that guy. The mom passed away. They already didn't have a will. It was going to the next two to kin, which was him, the brother, and the sister. Oh, wow. But then the sister passed away.
Oh my goodness.
So now it goes to the surviving children of the sister. Yeah. And they have to do a brand new airship. So I'm explaining to like a rookie realtor, you can go see that guy 100 times until he actually clears it up. Yeah. He can't sell you that product. I mean, he can. You could buy it broken. Do you want to? Because the sister hasn't signed yet.
Just depends.
It just depends.
Yeah, and what that's going to be. We had we get deals like that all the time that just have broken chain titles. So I mean, that's the battle all the time. And of course, you want to get you want to get the deal done. You want to get it finished. You maybe have an end buyer already, or which is even more annoying. It's like the most recent one I had right now, or we end up solving it. But they were he was married. He passes away. Then the daughters. Their daughters are supposed to inherit the property, and that's what they believe to be the case. Well, it ended up being that he also had other kids.
Of course,
that were prior to that relationship that the mom knew. But
they never told the kids.
Didn't want to say it too much, and they're like, and then so they're like finding out all the stuff's in the past, and but they don't know these people. So like you can't find these people. So I'm sitting there skip tracing people, hunting people down, and then as soon as you tell them they got a vested interest in something, and we just need a signature, boy, that entitlement comes
vested interest. The invested interest in what? What's the number on this investment?
How much am I getting? That's so then you got to solve those pieces, and then the other people,
which those are emotional, psychological. Those are obviously they want the money, but then. You got these people that already were vested into it. Yeah. They're finding out, pages that have chapters of their lives that they've never even opened up. Yeah. So while crazy. They have their new siblings taking their shivlings. Right?
Yes.
It's a lot.
Where's mine? And I got to give it to who? And who are you? And we had to do it. And we had a very similar, almost identical. The only difference in that particular case is that family knew the previous people.
Yes.
So at least we had names.
That was easy.
They didn't know how to find them. That was easy enough because I had names and we could skip trace them and we were done. No problem. But then after that, it was just the other one was just a nightmare. We don't know who all the people are. I'm trying to find them out. I'm looking up stuff. What addresses do you live at? Okay, well, who are these people? Let's find these people. Okay, then I found somebody.
Yeah.
They gave me the names. Then I could hunt them down. But then I had to split up the money and give them and pay everybody out. And they were, we ended up just splitting it amongst all the heirs.
Awesome. Well, I mean, that's ultimately what's once the new heirs come into it, and they're going to breathe up the extra air.
And I'm like, well, you're not going to. You can either sell it and get something or not and
get nothing.
You'll get nothing, and 5 years from now, they'll find some memorandum and figure it out then.
Yeah, exactly. You're already when you're even a third of the way through it. Like if you even stepped in it, you might as well walk through it.
Right.
I was just talking to another thing that happened today. I was talking to my HVAC guy. So I got this additional 5th bedroom in my house. We want to turn it into an office.
Just this extra room, man.
So I'm like, I'm like, it blows my mind how hard it is to get people to work.
Yes.
We talked about that last time.
Yes.
And I'm like, so he calls me. He's like, yeah, we're going to come to your job second. We got a job this morning and we'll come to yours second. So I'm like, okay, cool. So obviously I tell my son, don't go into the office today. I tell my wife, try to hang out around the house. We got the guys coming by, yada, yada, yada. So he literally called me right before I called you. And he goes, hey man, we're super filthy from this first job. I'm like, okay, what is this where I sell you the $200 to go to Walmart and put on a jogging suit? Like, just change your clothes, right? He's like, oh man, Walmart's at least 2 hours away. I'm like, what Walmart are you talking about? Because the Walmart I know is every 20 minutes away from wherever you are, wherever that is, in the whole entire world.
The whole place.
So I'm like, he's like, we're probably gonna, and I've the spirit of the last 2 weeks has been like, I've been looking for, because my mentees are doing really good.
They're doing really good. All right, pause right there.
Yeah.
I need to tell people who you are, man.
Okay.
All right, so man, I know you, Carlos. Okay, but this is Carlos Puckerin. So welcome to the Richard M. Shelton No Excuse podcast.
No excuses, baby.
Tell people how to find you, man.
Everything at Carlos Puckerin, Instagram, Twitter, which is now StockX.
Yeah.
I think we got Facebook, Carlos Puckerin. There's my personal page, which I don't really do too much engaging on now. And then I have my business page there. And then we also got TikTok, The Loaded Agent and Carlos Puckerin. And so what The Loaded Agent is just something that we created through actual licensed real estate. Because before we were Connect Property Group and we were Texas. My first ever business, I just looked at this the other day, was Home Free Texas.
Okay.
And that's when we were just kind of getting into the wholesale and investment game.
Yeah.
So
I like that beginning.
Yeah. That was a really cool beginning. I feel like I've been feeling like, a lot of great things have been happening, and then a lot of friction points have been happening right behind them. And so, since the last time you and I talked on the other podcast, a lot of growth has happened. And what I'm starting to realize is, from that, original Texas, Home Free Texas, get into the wholesale game, get into the fix and flip game. Like I was telling you before, I was in insurance sales and energy sales before that, and just decided like, no, we're gonna go for it big, and we're gonna go for 7, 8, 9, 10 figures. And we since we last talked, I've been in a lot of inspired by you, because when you told me you were doing that big, airplane community, I'm like, well, I could at least buy some flips. I could at least do some buy and holds and seller finance some stuff, right?
Yeah.
So we've done about 5 acquisitions. We got about 6 under contract right now. We're doing everything from Maryland to Texas.
Yeah, you all over.
Yeah.
Yeah. What made you choose to go outside of the state, or I keep most everything in Texas.
Yeah.
Because I'm too lazy to learn another state. But anyhow, you got stuff all these different states. So what makes that the right choice for you and your business?
You know what it was? I wasn't even when I first started. I was trying to keep everything in Texas.
Yeah.
And because I moved to Texas, I was born in Detroit, Michigan. I lived in Windsor, Ontario, Canada for the majority of my life, and I had a huge network through all of the network marketing that I had done in the past from state to state.
Okay.
And so a lot of people would reach out to me from like South Carolina, North Carolina, Michigan, and they'd be like, "Man, I want to do," because every business that I had done before that, I was able to do it nationwide. And in real estate, I didn't really realize that I was until I was like, okay, well, I can get lists in South Carolina. I can get lists. And so really all I have to do is and this is when the license came into place, because all I'd have to do is have a realtor or a transaction coordinator there that already understood it, and then find a title company that was investor friendly, and then pair them.
Yeah.
And then I was like, there's really not a lot to learn. There's just a lot of connections and networking to do to make this happen.
Yeah, I mean, this is a contact sport. You just got to make the contacts,
That's
build
it.
that network, and everybody's like, oh, everybody says your network is your net worth. Well, that's because it is.
It is.
Like the people are going to decide whether you excel or run into roadblocks. So you need to have the right people behind you.
It's true. And also, not only having but like you were talking about off camera, if you call me at the drop of the dime, I am going to make my way there, because, I value who you are, what you do, and how serious you take your business. And guess what? There's going to be a time where, hey, Rich, I got this. I'm probably going to give me some money for this. I need 150, right?
Yeah.
And I know that you'll be able to broker that deal for me.
We'll find it, broker it, or I'll just,
get right into
and now at this point, most of the time I just post on Facebook, hey, I need X amount of dollars, send it to me. Okay. And then people are like, all right.
Yeah.
It's like, but at one time in my life, I'd ask for a candy bar, and the answer is no.
You know what's funny? I was watching this 50 Cent thing the other day, and he's like, the biggest commodity is to be in a position to where you don't need anything, because then people will give it to you.
They will give it to you because they know you can handle it. when you need it, they're like, why?
They're like, why?
You must need it. You fucked up.
What you gonna do with it? You go,
yeah. But if you're taking $1 turn into 100, I want part of that.
That's it.
Yeah. So
my phone rings every day. Like as I was boarding the plane. So while I was like complaining about the crazy morning, which is my life.
Morning, it's a Tuesday.
I had probably 1.5 million of deals on the phone. Like, hey man, got a guy $700,000. Got a guy over here $200,000. I'm like, and I had offers coming in.
Perfect.
So now, what I'm starting to realize is, they say, your network is your net worth. It's also determined by your self-worth, because you can never actually exceed beyond what you believe. Like we talked about that.
I 100% agree with you there. And I think, I don't know about for you, but for me, there's times when you got to stop and then reevaluate yourself. Say, I'm not here. I'm here. I need to believe that I'm here again, because for whatever reason, I let myself get truncated down. Let me get back in my game.
I think I think what happens is sometimes when we get truncated down, it's more about the people that we're talking to.
Yeah. Because you go to the lowest common denominator,
So the thing about you is you got the billionaire hedge fund guys building the plane community.
Yeah.
But you're still mentoring level 1s and 2s.
Yes.
And if me and you are having a blunt, honest conversation, sometimes when we mentor our level 1s, 2s, and 3s, we love the hell out of them.
Yeah.
And so sometimes maybe they're having trouble with precarious situations, or they're having trouble wrapping their heads around the way we're going to execute certain things.
Yeah.
And then you find yourself not necessarily regressing because of them, but you have to go back to that to say to them, this is how we move forward.
Yeah, that's it's like how does a sports car keep up with a jet, or it just got to keep doing loops and loops and loops. It's the only way to make it around, and it is a challenge. I mean, ideally, in my particular case, the reason I'm working with the mentees as much as I am is because I'm recruiting that team to run in my absence.
Yes.
Not so much that I do the free events, and those are all great, and I like doing those. Those are great networking things, but those are to help other people connect with people.
Yes.
But on the mentee program, the goal is to find help 10 or 12, find 2 or 3 who want to be with me till for the long term.
Yep.
And then the other guys are going to do their own thing, and that's great. And I hope they do, and I hope they succeed. But there will be a core that want to stay with the game,
of course,
with you. And then those people, like one of them, like that kid, his name's Nico.
Yeah.
I mean, he
keeps killing it. By the way.
Yeah. He's hammering. I just gave him a check the other day.
Yeah.
And then but I was telling him, I said, listen, man, I'm whatever it is, 20 some odd years older than you. Yes. I'm not going to want to do all these things all the time. I don't want to work that hard.
Yeah, I'm not even going to do them no matter what. So Nico, you're going to.
So guess who's going to do it? The guy who's is coming up, because me and my partner we're going up. My partner's older than I am. I'm this age, so we're headed the other direction. So I need you to come up and step up here pretty soon. And that's really the incentive. I don't mind investing that energy into teaching them what to do, so that they can run the business in my absence.
He's got the bandwidth for it, though.
He does,
you got to pick the right, like what I found, which is
he's probably watching it right now. I'm getting rich.
What I found that's crazy for me, and we talked about this last time too. Yeah. I was doing the free mentorship, and then I started making them put a little skin in the game. I created the Loaded Agent Mentorship Program, which I call LAMP. Go ahead.
Yeah. No. What I was going to say is like on my meetups.
Yeah.
I get let's say 200 people that'll go to the free one.
Yep.
And then I charge $8, $5, $7, 37. Like, what the hell, you?
But the thing about those 37,
they're real.
They're real.
They're ready. I'm like, man, that's like y'all worried about $8? I paid like $50 a plate for this.
Yeah, just to get y'all a little brisket, and you know what I mean?
Like, come on, man.
I realized, but I got this really. I'm not going to name their names because they're going to speak for themselves here soon. I don't want to take their thunder, but I noticed. So like all of my people that I coach for free, right? Mm-hmm. Like like probably 70% of them will dwindle out. Like just, I'm talking about a strong 70, right? Like will dwindle out. And then I got these few new mentees. There's probably just about less than 10 of them, right?
Perfect.
And
It's a good group.
it is. It's a really good group.
Yeah.
And dude, they're so hungry. They're so willing. I'm telling you, 100% of these people, no complaints. What do I do next? Let me know. I'm like, calm. Like you're so like calm down, but they're so ready, dude.
Yeah. Like I got a handful of these guys right now. They're just kicking ass, man.
Yeah.
They're going after it. They're driving around all day, hammering phones. One of them decided I want to go get my own dollar because I'm too tired of waiting for you to get the A2P clients thing. I'm like, dude, like, there's rules, man, but you do you.
Yeah, no, and the thing about it, especially with the A2P and the compliance and stuff like that, you gotta, if they're that gun ho, just let them bump their head because a little scraped elbow, a little bumped head will never.
Well, they're not gonna lose nothing.
Exactly.
They'll just get their their credit card dinged and then and get kicked off that platform.
Exactly. And then you'll still be there doing things compliantly.
Here it is.
Exactly.
Now.
Exactly. What I did actually for my A2P dollars and all my access is I just actually started getting multiples. So now I got multiples. Some of them are just sitting there with the green light. When the red light comes up on them, we slide over to these and we start moving. You know what I mean?
I started getting mad at Twilio when I had to start setting that up. I'm sending a message. Just tell me the verbiage you want in these spaces, okay? Yeah. And they're like, well, we can't do that. Well, do you know what the answer is supposed to be? Well, yes. Then tell me.
Just tell me. So I set up a team. I got a great team. What I was going to say, what I was alluding to was just like we say your network determines your net worth and it can't too far exceed your self-worth. Well, I've really learned delegate to elevate. So one of my biggest issues, and I just have to tell people this, was like actually trusting humans to do things the way that I will. And what I've accepted is that they won't.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
And so what I'm better off doing is grabbing about 4 or 5 really good dedicated humans, treating them very well, giving them everything that they need, and giving them bite-sized tasks.
Correct.
That completely takes away from me doing it at all whatsoever. But the only friction I'm feeling is that the people that are used to having that access point to me are like, I don't want to call Brandon. I don't want to call May. I don't want to call Jimmy. I want to call you.
Everybody want to go to the boss, know. But it's imperative, and they shouldn't do everything that you do because you have 100% in the game. They got 10, 5, 3, whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't need them to to do everything. I just need them to be really good at their skill set. And as you start growing, you'll end up hiring people that exceed your capabilities in a finite space.
And that's the beauty of it, though. I mean, when you think about the most powerful corporations or the most incredible businessmen or the ones that really just business ladies that stop you in your tracks, what they've done really, really good, like I said, I think it was yesterday or the day before, I said, if you can't tolerate stress, you're never going to be able to be wealthy.
Yeah.
And so, the reality is my skill set is actually trauma. Like I'm so good at, like you said, you worked the car dealership. You were there freaking 15, 17 hours a day. You were over dedicated to your craft.
Pretty close.
Well, you know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, you put so much man hours into it that you really got into this obsessive hole of like, it's like an illusion to you, and you're just kind of moving into that space almost like it's the Matrix. So you can't expect everybody to give that level of sacrifice or have that level of obsession. So you got to delegate a certain amount of humans that'll do a certain amount of human hours.
I think one of my negative traits is that I expect people's work ethic to match mine.
Yes.
So I would say, well, I'm available 24/7. Your ass ought to be available 24/7.
Yeah. That's toxic. I'm like that too.
And then I have to and then I'll say it every once in a while. And then once I leave and set my point, then I sit in my truck or driving around like, that's kind of shitty thing to say. Like, I probably should apologize. Nah, they just need to step up. They're never going to get to their next level if they don't hear it. Like,
isn't it crazy how there's a stark contrast between the two? Imagine like Kobe Bryant, God rest his soul, but imagine Kobe Bryant like just lighting his team on fire. Like, you didn't even practice. I've been here for 17 hours. But Kobe, you're the one who wants to be great. You're the greatest athlete on the floor. You're the one who's leading the legacy. You're the one that they're going to remember when they say Los Angeles Lakers.
You're the one with multiple commas in his check.
Exactly. And so I'm constantly finding myself stuck between that because like I'll give very small tasks to my team, right? Yeah. Very small ones. And I think to myself, if this problem arises, why didn't you deal with it this way? And then I think to myself, that's in that same thought process, I go, Yeah, but that's why I'm me, right?
Yeah. But I mean, you can still ask those questions. You just have them ask those questions themselves. And what do you think is the best way to go about this in retrospect? How would you look at this? And now that this has happened, what do you think we should do differently moving forward? And let them start solving that problem, get their brain around.
That's what it is.
Problem solvers.
That's what it is.
Yeah. It's
and then even so, I will give my team the opportunity. First of all, I'm not giving anybody. These are human beings and they're adults.
Yeah.
So they're accepting and receiving the opportunity to make these decisions.
Yeah.
And then I will give them, you have to, if you can't accept constructive criticism, I believe that if you can't accept constructive criticism, it's going to be really hard to grow. So like I was talking about budgeting with one of my guys the other day. I said, man, listen, I had a locksmith go out to one of our gigs. I paid $217. He had a locksmith go out to one of our gigs. He paid $408. I said, listen, in order to build your power team, it's not about being cheap. It's about being effective and having good communication skills. So like I was saying to you, it's crazy to me that some people will, I called 6 locksmiths that day. Only one of them showed up.
Oh, man,
I called HVAC guys. I've been calling them for like almost a month, maybe like 3 callbacks. So everybody wants a certain amount of business, but they sometimes want beyond what they can actually accept or expect to accept, because you put your name out there, you get on Google, and then the calls start coming in. And then you're like, oh my God, I have leads, but I can't fulfill the demand. So now you got to put systems in place and delegate to elevate or build out your team or whatever the case is. And so what I said to that particular realtor, I'm just like, hey, next time you get the opportunity. So we had that conversation. Here's the opportunity. What do you think you could do differently? Yada, yada, yada. Okay, these are the answers you give me. Okay, so now that you've given me these answers, 40% of them are right, 60% of them are wrong, because there is a right and there is a wrong way to do things. Try these methods. That's all you. That's what I've realized. All you can do is say, try these methods, because I don't want to. I would like my legacy to be that I helped contribute to building a great team.
Yeah.
And then also I helped contribute to creating more great leaders.
Yes.
I don't want all the credit. And like you, I'll eventually want to walk off behind the black curtain and just live my life.
Well, it may not even be that I'm trying to pull into the black curtain. I'm going to let them run this part because this is business A.
Yes.
But, I'm got business B, C, D, or whatever it is going on, and that I need to put my energy on developing whatever that next venture is, so that I can have that one be managed by other people too.
Yes.
And then your interests change. You're like, okay, well, I like this aspect. I liked wholesaling. It was great. I like it a little bit less now.
Yes.
I like owning the shit.
Yeah. Me
It's
too.
like it's I'm like, okay. But I mean, it's really hard to say I don't want,
a commission.
10, 20, 30, 50 grand like right now today. Like, let me make $200 a month, versus or 50 grand a day. And but then at some point you're like, well, I don't really need it for anything. I don't have to buy anything, and if I haven't, I'm just going to buy something I don't need. So let me keep it and put it to work. And
it really the way that it changes is really crazy. I think another one of the lessons that I'm trying to teach as I learn is, man, just say no. Like
it's hard to say no sometimes.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, to yourself and others. Like you, especially if you're a problem solver person, you want to solve the universe's problems. It's not your job.
That's true.
That's his job. Not my job.
It's not my job. And so because I've taken on so much of the heavy lifting, I'm like almost just used to it. It has nothing to do with like I'm finding that for me it's more habit than necessity. So I'm like, oh, they called me. Let me just take the time. But then I look up. I'm like, wow, that was 47 minutes. Yeah. Right? I got to do payroll. Right? Like, you know what I mean? So now I'm just delegating everything. So now I'm getting addicted to like this whole delegate to elevate mentality where it's like, I'm checking in. I'm going to temp check. Like I have this whole I'm the thermostat, not the thermometer theory. Like, so I'm going to come in. Oh, it's a little too cold in here. Turn the heat up a little bit. Make sure that this is the resting temperature and leave and go on to the next room. And so that's kind of like my where I'm at in this particular phase of my life. Like I want to buy it. I want to own it. I want to control it. I don't even like rentals anymore because I'm like, I just want to sell or finance it. Like I just want to be the bank. I don't ever want to fix the toilet. I don't want to change the light. I just want to, if there's a problem, curing the debt, I just want to come in and do and then sell it.
So on your owner finances, how are you doing those? Are you just paying them all cash and then owner financing them out and hoping you got enough money? Or are you getting debt on the back side of it?
So I got three really, really good exit strategies. Sometimes I'll come into them subject to, put a wrap on it. Boom.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy.
Yeah, love those.
If it makes sense, yeah, I'll come in, buy it all cash, same thing. Because I've been doing the fix and flips and the wholesaling for so long, I've gotten so good at it, and my power team is really effective. So I come in, get a good budget on it, see what the equity is going to be like, what's the long-term gain on it, 25, 30, 35, 40-year note, and get a good chunk up front. A lot of the times that takes care of, a part of acquisition and rehab, right? And then, you know what I mean? Some of it's that, and a lot of times we vet really, really good people, and we have really, really good assets,
Yeah.
But it's all a risk, At the end of the day, it's all somewhat of a risk. We just try to mitigate it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, on the owner finance side, worst case scenario, you foreclose on it, and your cost of acquisition is reduced.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
I just put $30,000 down and walking away. Why?
Why?
All right, man.
All right.
It's sign right here, or it's
sign right here, or go through the litigation process.
And sometimes they're like, okay.
Exactly.
They can't, for whatever reason, I'm like.
And so then I go through, a lot of the times I'll go, then at that time, you're just going to go through the assets, see what needs to be done, yada, yada, yada. Then I'm going to put it back out there and grab my money back.
Again. Yeah.
So one of the things, anybody who's watching this show, I want you to understand, especially getting into real estate, whether you're a wholesaler, investor, whatever you're calling yourself, whatever the title you're giving yourself is, come in, get with a guy like Rich, learn, and just follow, right? And then once you get yourself in the position where you can paddle your boat, decide what direction you want to go in. A lot of the people that I've been helping, they're like, I want to stay in your boat, brother.
Yeah.
40 knots west, right? Yeah. Like, they're just like...
Well, because it goes from a canoe to a yacht.
Very fast.
Yeah, it's like, well, I mean, you can, okay, great, you can be the master of your canoe, or you can be a part of this yacht.
Exactly. And there's multiple levels on this yacht. You can go to the very top, you can sleep. We got the kitchen over here. We got great food.
They got food.
Exactly. You ain't got no food on that canoe.
We got a helicopter pad.
Exactly. That canoe has a, what do you call that? That canoe, it's got an ice chest. You know what I mean?
And that's just got bait in it. It ain't got no food.
It ain't even got no food. You still got a lot of work to do with that canoe.
It's like,
what do you got coming up now since you guys been doing since you guys launched that big project?
Flying community. I mean, right now, I mean, we're still working on getting all of the land under acquisition. So that's really the main goal on that right now. Business wise, I mean, we've kind of pivoted from doing the wholesale flips and more into the acquisition and hold. So we're converting those into longer term options. Versus before we were turning them pretty quick. I do put them out there, but I just don't give anything away. So the answer I want to hear is that's too high. I agree.
Yes. Yeah.
So do you want it or not?
Exactly.
It's well, that's retail. I agree. I'm not arguing with you.
Exactly.
But I'm closing it either way.
Exactly.
So
it's I think the one main thing that I'm focusing on, especially in my personal life, we talk about fitness a lot. Over the course of the last few months, I've been making sure that I give myself time in my personal life with my wife. We have like a like a ritual that we just plan. Every couple of days between this hour and this hour, we're just going to connect personal, business, kids.
Yes.
Really make sure that we're locked in, because we're like ain't nobody going out nowhere. So we're making sure that we have the right sticking points.
Super important.
Yeah, it is super important.
And it's so hard to budget that time until you make it a point to budget the time.
Yeah. You got to make it a point to. Yeah. And speaking of budget, romance requires finance.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so I have the right wife. I said, I'm just blessed, whatever you want to call. I got the right wife. Yeah. So she grew up. Her mom owned a bakery.
Okay.
And her father was on the farm. So they were straight up real straight up farmer, baker, we bake the bread at the house, we break the bed so it's not like a friction point to actually understand the governing of the home, what needs to be, what is the work required inside the home. And so now we're both starting to get a lot more on the same page when it comes to physical health, mental health, what we need to do inside the household, the financial budget, all those things. What I'm realizing too is, a little bit more is what you just said. I'm just I don't want that. I don't I like to make big checks, right?
Sure.
But I'm really starting to think about the long-term stuff, right? gathering it up
Yeah,
and
well,
having a
like-
net worth of millions and millions and millions of dollars, and
and
that's
I-
okay.
And I think like for me, it's just the mathematics. I'm sitting there saying, okay, well, I'm giving 30-40% equity to somebody else for a small little fee, but why can't I just keep the 30 or 40% for myself? It's still there.
But here's the thing about it,
Yeah.
Rich. When you, I love that your name is Rich because we're talking about money.
Yeah.
But when
That's my dad used to tell me that.
You know-
I said, I want to be rich when I grow up. I named you that. And I'm
Exactly.
like, that's not what I mean. I want to be wealthy. Well, that's different. It's like I have a problem.
The reality of it is, and this is why I talk about this a lot, especially in the first module of that Loaded Agent Mentorship Program. I'm like, bro, like you got to get your mind right.
Yeah.
Like you got to know that it's okay for you to make millions, to actually make them. A lot of the times I have these conversations, when they come in at level 1, 2, and 3, and they're like, I know, but we're charging 50. I'm like, well, what are you worth? What is your time worth to you?
Yeah.
And if you're going to, by the way, if you're giving somebody 120 grand in equity and you're making 30, 40, or 50,
Yeah.
is that even enough?
Yeah.
Shouldn't you find a way to get the 500, 1 million? We did a deal in the Heights in Houston. They bought the asset 550,000. We made 100 grand. Don't get me wrong. It was a nice payday. Buddy, they platted that land out, okay?
Yeah.
Erected 2 structures on it, and that probably cost them 260 to 360 grand when I priced it out on the back. Like when I was like, wait a minute, we made that 100 really fast. And if they were willing to give that up, what did they make? So then I started reverse engineering everything.
Sure.
And I was like, okay, so if we would have kind of sat in the pocket for 10, 11 months, did it this way, and with my management skill, maybe we would have had $1.5 million, and we would have had an asset that would have appreciated to millions over time.
Yeah. Which is why they didn't argue with you about the 100 grand.
At all.
Like,
It was
okay, cool.
actually too easy.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
It was too easy.
Yeah.
And so don't get me wrong. Yes, I love 100 grand. I drive a Caddy. I don't have a note. Wife drives a Porsche. We don't have a note. You understand what I'm saying? So I like the cash. I'm also, my mindset knows that I'm always going to get more of it. So I don't have the scarcity thing anymore. But I also have shifted to this big ideology where it's like, hey, we're talking about 100 grand. That's not a lot of money. We're talking about $500,000. That's not a lot of money. So when you start to change the way you look at that, people start to change the way that they look at you.
Correct. Yeah. If you feel like you're worth $1 million, then people will start to view you in that aspect. If you think you're worth 10 billion, 100 million, whatever it is,
Whatever you decide.
Then you'll start attracting the people who are going to value you in that space.
Yes.
And justify whether or not you belong there later.
Period.
But they'll say, okay, you're that guy. Okay, great. And then either you are or you aren't.
Really, all you got to do at that point is show up.
Yeah, you just got to do the work, and they'll do it. It's really amazing. People love to limit themselves and ratchet down where they can achieve because society
they rationalize.
Yeah. Oh, it's only
this. Okay, I was at 30%. I'm at 60. That's double what I was.
Yeah.
Okay, but there's infinity. The number you're just giving yourself.
Yeah. What would you do if you had 3,000%?
And that's what's so I talked to my son. I told you, he's 19. He's really involved in the business now. He's vetting out the deals. He's looking at, long-term acquisition. What would it be worth over time? He can do something that I can't do, which is because he's 19 and he has that youth, he's looking through a lens, seeing the world totally differently.
Sure.
So I'm asking him what he sees, and he doesn't have what I have, which is the age and wisdom in the fortitude, because I've been through so much to determine, what decisions we should make at this point. And I'm just really valuing that whole family business, that family aspect of it, and watching him grow and having a sales skill at 19, dude, for real estate.
Yeah.
This guy's looking. He's like, "Oh yeah, Dad. I'm probably gonna try to get a couple of subject twos. We just bought a subject two for our first family home, like I was telling you." And he's like, "Yeah, Dad. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna see if we can get one of these foreclosures. Maybe I'll get a multi, and then I'll house hack it, but I'll also have it subject too. So somebody will pay the note. It'll probably be like maybe a 2.9 or a 3. This is him talking like he's already
he's gonna wrap his own mortgage,
dude.
Yeah.
At 19,
Yeah.
right? So I'm trying to give him a few additional skills mentally, so that when the success will inevitably come. I just want him to be able to handle it and not be broken by it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I think it will. I mean, I'm sure you'll guide him along the steps, and you'll all be growing together. So,
Yes.
areas that aren't developed all the way, now y'all are both learning to build those levels up instead of you working really hard to try to get there, but not the other parties really understanding what's going on.
I think the beauty of that is almost like Donald Trump and his son.
Yeah.
The one that really likes the whole politics side of things, and
Barron.
building up the economy, whatever the case is. I think that when you see your dad do it, and you see the benefits, and you also see some of the dark sides behind the scenes that people don't see, and then you still choose to do it, you really got a legacy child. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and it makes things easier for that person, but they won't squander it, is basically
because it has value. When they come, or when you come home and your daddy Warbucks, then they think money's free.
Exactly.
That you just disappear for a handful of hours, and then when they need when they drop their phone,
and they need shoes,
and they now the screen's broke and it's $150 to fix it, you just poof, there you go.
Exactly.
But if you say, okay, well that's great, let's go out there and go find you $150. Oh, it's going to take me like 5 days.
Well, less than take the 5 days.
But let's get. Let's go.
The sooner we start, the sooner that 5.
Yeah, it's like that when they go with, like, I'd like taking them with me as much as I can. In my space, by the time they get out of school, it didn't really leave a lot of time.
Yeah.
I usually end around 5 or so.
Yeah.
For that part of the business, but so going around. All right, let's go watch these projects. Let's go see what's going on over here. Here's how the QuickBooks works. Here's how the here's the stuff you need to get to the accountants. Here's the stuff that I can do. Here's the stuff they're going to tell me I can't do, and here's how I can show them I can. And then
dude, I've legitimately had this guy actually I've had him train a couple of our inside sales associates at this point.
Yeah.
I've had him jump on the go high level at this point.
Nice.
I've had him, go behind understanding what compliance means for text blast services, having him understand banned words and why they become banned words. I seen you roll your eyes because it's annoying.
It's annoying.
And they have a new banned word every month. But I mean, and then what happens when they make a big system change and you got maybe 4 or 5 inside sales associates. In our case, we have like 15. So what do you do? And I what I basically say to him is, so this is what I've been teaching my son lately. What if I don't answer the phone? What if something happens to me?
Yeah.
You're now at the helm of the ship. So every time you get to a point where you have to make a decision and you don't know what to do, decide and live with it. And then when you make it, you and I will go through it. If it was great, I'm gonna, you're gonna know that because we're gonna go through why it was great. And if it could have been better, I'm gonna tell you the God honest truth. But you're not gonna die from it.
Yeah,
it's gonna build It's gonna build character.
Yeah. You got to hear it sometimes. And it's not good to hear. At every level. There's plenty of times when they're like, "Hey, that was stupid." Yeah, okay.
It was.
Yeah, all right. So then,
could have did that better.
Yeah, should have. I agree.
One of the things that I've been going through a very transformative, part of my life right now.
Sure.
I turned 40 this month.
Okay.
I'm thinking about that a lot. I'm like, dude. In October.
Okay.
Yep. I'm like, dude. So I just been thinking about, okay, a lot of times it's super hard for me to give myself credit. Because I'm the biggest critic of myself that there is. I'm like, okay, could have did that better. You should have been on time. Could have, squeezed an extra couple grand out of that, whatever. I'm finding myself being okay. So I used to have this own fear of missing out, right? Contracts got to get signed right now. Da, da, da. I'm like, dude, I'm so good. Like, I'm giving myself credit for being good, which is really a hard thing for me to do. I'm like, people will say to you, man, Rich, you're killing it, dude. And you're like, be honest. You're like, I could kill it. Wait, like you want to.
That's it.
You're like this. Thank you, but your mind goes.
No, instead,
really
I do the opposite. I'm like, oh shit, I'm not doing enough. If they had to tell me, then
something's wrong.
Yeah. I'm all right. What I gotta fix?
So my wife said this thing to me the other day, dark psychology, and I'm like, what is that, right? And it brought something out of me to where I thought about it every day for like the next 7 days. I'm like, what's dark psychology, right? And I'm like,
okay,
I do that to myself.
I'll okay.
I gotta accept. Like, I have to somewhat accept that, right? And then I'm like, so what I say all that to say, what I'm realizing now is that I am good, and it's okay to be good, but not so. Don't let good and comfortable can't combine. Because if you're like, I'm so good now, I don't have to blah, 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 then you could lose it.
Yeah, no, but good has to be an exponent. It has to be, okay, we're at X to this power.
Yes.
And then so you have to continually grow on that train.
Yes.
And then it's funny, you brought up dark psychology. I was doing a thing on teaching sales, and I was like, okay, so I'm going to do like light psychology. I'm going to teach dark psychology. Don't put that; you'll ruin your brand. I'm like, ruin my brand. I was like, where the hell do you think this money comes from?
Yeah.
It's like,
oh my god! I hope my wife gets to watch that part of it.
Yeah, because my wife, she was just like, well, you can't tell people that. And I'm saying, well, I'm not teaching them what to do, but you still need to understand how humans work.
Yes,
and you need to understand that what to interpret when they're saying things, what they really mean versus what they're actually saying, and you need to be confident in what you're doing so you can overcome these objections.
Well, here's the thing about
I'm
it. Let's just
trying to be shady. I'm trying to teach you to be aware.
But here's the thing about it. Let's be this, because you just hit the nail on the head. Regardless, every human being that gets into a union together has a motivation.
Yep.
Motivation.
Yep.
Okay.
I know my first motivation when I met my wife.
Same one,
dude. Probably all of us.
Yeah,
you're hot.
So come on, bro. Like if you weren't what I was like when I get to the restaurant, I usually want steak. I'm just being honest.
Yeah,
like I like chicken's better for me, the way the protein breaks down, yada yada. But I like a little bit of bloody meat. Okay, I like that.
What kind of steak you like?
So I was just at Papa's. The other day for the wife's birthday. She's September 22nd. I'm October 17th. So we get two birthdays back. 20th. Oh yeah. We talked about that.
Yeah.
So we went to Papa's Steakhouse. She's like, so it was so funny. I took her to the Marriott downtown. We went downtown Houston, did the Marriott, got some massages, yada yada yada.
That's
I was
a
like,
good date.
It's a good date, dude.
That's awesome.
It was relaxation, right?
Super cool.
Had the kids. We got the 3 and the 4-year-old. I was like, baby, we already got the sitter.
Yeah.
We just gonna get rubbed down, eat red meat, and sleep. Right? Yeah. She's like, ooh, that was like, you know what I mean? So exactly. You've seen the halo, the heavens open up. Exactly.
Every wrong you did was healed for the moment.
So exactly. For the moment. That's all I live for. The moments. So I usually do like a prime. Or like a fillet.
I love the fillets.
Yes. So to that, I did a big dirty bone-in 32-ounce porterhouse.
That's a lot.
I was like, I couldn't. So I was like, I'm going to be full, like in the first 6 to 8 ounces. And then I was like, I'm 10, 12 ounces into this thing. And I don't know what's going on, but I'm just going. And next thing you know, it's just like a bloody bone, right?
Yeah.
But to speak to what you said, I said to my wife, I was like, listen, dark psychology, light psychology, when you put on your phone, brightness, it goes to dark, they all have a function. They're all necessary to a certain degree.
Correct. And the reality is without that polarity, without that contrast, you're not going to understand what's going on. You won't know that something's good or dark unless I understand what good and dark are.
Period.
So I need to know, this has contrast. If everything was white, we wouldn't be able to read it.
So you need the darkness for the Richard Shelton to actually
pop up. And if I flip it around, I need the light to bring out the dark. If I make the
and so they both have purpose.
Yeah, they create the ultimate balance. We're looking for a homeostasis.
Yes.
In the process, and people just don't want to admit that. They don't listen, man. You walk around all day, you're thinking good things and bad things, and you manage to find a way to be a normal human.
And here's the thing about it: you're being honest with yourself. You're thinking way more bad shit. I'm just like, dude, like you're thinking, like your mind. So the problem is that we allowed society to govern what we watch, what we see, who we are, when we go, when we wake up, right? Yeah. So we're not unless you grab a hold of the darkness, like on purpose, and insert the light.
Yeah. You need to identify it and say, listen, this is how I'm feeling. Why? Okay, I feel like this because of. Okay, great. Now I know the root. Now I have an opportunity to solve it.
I talk about this all the time, dude. Like I don't even understand what traditional learning is in school because I never could
indoctrination. It's not learning.
It's not learning. Yeah. So because I struggled with that so much of my life, I thought there was something wrong with me to a certain degree. Yeah. So I couldn't follow rules. I couldn't raise my hand to pee. I just
gotta go.
Yeah, like I couldn't. It didn't never resonated with me spiritually.
Yeah.
So then I was a black sheep, or I didn't listen, and my report card says Carlos is disruptive and yada yada.
Sheep, I guess.
So and that's the thing. The thing about it is, like, for instance, when you don't follow everything, they call you the black sheep, like the dark. Well, why isn't that the good thing? You know what I mean? Like, so for instance, I was talking to a client this morning.
Who runs the world? The black sheep, bro.
Exactly. So they're making you feel like this is the wrong, so that you don't explore too much of it.
Because they don't want competition.
So I'm talking to a client this morning, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about, I don't do a lot of traditional listings. Like, I don't even care how this comes across. Like, I don't do a lot of minimum wage activities. And for me, a 3% commission is a minimum wage activity. Okay, so
oh man, I was just talking with a lady a minute ago about that. I'm like, why do I want 3 to maybe 6% if I'm lucky when I can have 100% all the cookie, baby? Like, it's like I don't want to.
Dude, I'm trying to teach realtors that have been indoctrinated to believe that it's not fair unless you get the minimum of what's available, or it's like against your fiduciary responsibility. So I'm like, so I say all that. It's not.
You know,
they put you in school,
and then like who the fiduciary responsibility. Y'all love saying that word, but you know, ultimately when push comes to shove, y'all are fiduciarily responsible to yourself.
And like, the thing about, and let's be, and if you're being honest,
like they don't want to say that. They're like, I would never. You're a liar.
Yes, you would, and you do, and you have.
I see it all. You're calling me right now because you're trying to find a way to get around it. Don't bullshit.
Exactly. And the less bullshitting you do, the faster you can get to the solution.
I had a realtor set up an LLC as a marketing company to give me to pay him referrals to. I thought that's way shady.
Shady.
Yeah, it's like why so why did you and you say
just say it.
I'm like straight up, I want to make money and I want to make money, but I'm still gonna help you get these things.
You want to know what my clients love about me? I'm like this. This is what I'm charging you because this is what they say to charge you.
Yeah.
This is what I'm charging you because I'm amazing, and this is going to get done with such little friction. How much money do you want? Oh, yeah. That much money? I'm going to get you that much money.
That's what I went and it's like, you know, they'd ask me, well, see if you can get them to do a list it with us, you know, because the deal was out of whack. I was like, all right, I'll close them, but I'm getting paid.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, we only get no. When I said, are y'all firm on your numbers, or do I got a little bit of leeway? Well, you can put whatever you want.
All right.
I need to know.
All right. I'm getting paid.
So I went up to him and so I said, listen, I got 3 ways to get this done.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got 3% goes to the buyer's agent.
Yeah.
So I have the premium levels 3% for the seller.
Yeah.
And then 4% for the elite, and then like something for platinum.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I got this person was all done to agree to 6 and 3, and she's like, "You can't do that." I'm
yes,
like,
you can.
It's done, baby.
The thing that's crazy is
I want my 3%. Here you go.
And the thing that's crazy is this whole you can't do that.
Yeah, but it's not the rules. I'm all with staying in the guidelines, but I'm going to ding that wall. It's
listen, one of my favorite sayings, I say it all the time, there's got to be rules to follow, but you ain't got to follow the rules. There has to be rules to follow, but you ain't got to follow the rules. That means we know the parameters, we know the boundaries, but we're going to hop, skip, jump, and we're going to get people like people. So my client calls me this morning. Oh, man, I said, that's exactly what I said. But what about the 2% title fees? Well, you didn't want me to make a cash offer, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to stroke a check and be done with this.
Yeah.
And you didn't want me to be done with this.
Yeah.
You wanted to get a premium top dollar, yada, yada, yada. You said you had to walk away with at least this much.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm charging you. When you sign this agreement, this is what we'll do, and this is how we'll get to the thing. I'm on a plane. Are you going to sign or are you not? They're like this. All right, man, I'm just going to finish the meeting, then I'll sign, right? Now, flip the scale to this unnamed person.
Yeah.
I gave them almost the exact scenarios like 7-8 days ago.
Yep.
Oh, no, but I can't do that because, if I can't, then they got to get the lender. I'm like, listen, you need to tell them this is what they want. This is the outcome they desire. You're worried about all of these little minor details in between, so you're stopping your client from getting what they need, and you're stopping yourself from getting the maximum amount of money that you can get from this transaction. That, my friend, is wrong. Selling yourself short on a regular basis because you don't believe that you're allowed to make more money is insanity.
Yeah.
It's insanity. And so I very rarely do minimum wage activity, and I very rarely do regular listings. Why? Because I present so much value to my clients. I rarely miss a close. If I miss a close, it's like 10, 15 days. It was something on title, somebody we couldn't get a payoff from, a credit card, an HOA, or whatever that we couldn't, but everything is so solid that what I've realized is I'm just not doing it. Like, buddy, I only have, if you have 100% bandwidth every day, and this is how much I'm getting for using this much of the bandwidth, I'm going to weigh what that is. And if it ain't right, I'm shelving it. And I think that's a problem that a lot of people have. They just cannot say to themselves, I'm worth more than this.
Yeah.
You know, dark psychology 101.
Yeah, they like it. Yeah, it's a weird thing, man. It's but I mean, I guess that's why some people continue to push to go to new heights, and some people are content with just staying where they're at.
Listen, when we launched, I said my goal is for at least 50 to 60% of the people that come up under me to actually make 7-8 figures.
Yeah.
And I said, from those people that make the 7-8 figures, I want to make 9-10 figures. And so, you know, my partner was like, dude, like that, like, I love how you're just like okay with that. And I mean, like, I was like, what do you mean? Like, I had to ask him, like, what do you mean okay with that? Because I felt like his energy was like, he was being positive, but I think maybe his dark psychology didn't allow him to realize that he like, it was almost unfathomable for me to say to him, well, since they're going to make 7-8, I'm going to make 9-10. And then for me making 9-10, they're going to come up to 9-10. And at that time, I'm going to go to 12-15. It's not being ahead of them. It's maybe one of them or 5 of them will get so good that they'll run out in front of me and then drag me up, you know.
That happens too sometimes. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you start getting a little complacent, and then somebody whoops you, and you're like, oh, hell no.
Exactly. You know? And they drag you up.
Let me get back up there.
And so, you know, my thing is, like, you know, like I said, we've been doing a lot of personal development in the household. I got these 2 like crazy like brain supplements that I feel like are really, really working.
Which ones you on?
I'm using,
I want some sponsors when y'all do this thing.
Yeah, we need the sponsorship for this. Shroom Tech,
okay.
On It, and then Primal Brain. It's, oh my dude, it is
Primal Brain.
It's like NZT, dude. Like the mornings that
NZT.
I'm so mad that I feel.
Isn't that thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
Limitless.
I
feel I'm so mad that I feel like this about this freaking supplement, because the mornings I have it, I'm like, paid all the bills, already did my cardio, and then like I can feel the morning that like I got out the door ahead of my routine or my ritual, and like I didn't take it, and then I'm like, I forgot to do the thing. The laundry didn't switch, right? Yeah. Because I take a lot of pride in being able to manage all the things that the business needs from me, but then really, and I talked to you about this last time, really doing my best to be present with my children, being present with my wife. You know, that's the hardest thing to achieve.
It is. It's very tough. You know, you're trying to create a monster to build and take care of in perpetuity.
Yes.
You know, and in abundance for so many people.
For generations.
And it takes a lot of energy. And then, you know, and by the time that, you know, when that clock starts winding down, there's not a whole lot of time left, man.
There ain't a whole lot of anything.
I mean, the only way, like recently, that I've started to like be able to do is I just started tying them together. Hey, y'all coming with me? We're gonna go hang out and go do some shit together.
Yes.
You know, because there's I can't say there's no other way, but that's
one of the best ways.
An easier way for me is, now you see what I'm doing. You see what it takes. You hear my phone ringing and blowing up all day long. You got,
I love
you know, it's
when I looked at Grant and Elena and the kids like running around together.
You get envious and happy at the same time.
Yeah. One thing I realized, you know, because I watched a lot of those like investor guys like that. And even, you know, guys like Tarek, and even guys that I noticed that were married anyway who had kids, right? And I was like, man, they bring their kids and stuff with them. And they bring their wife, and they find a way to make the business a part of what we do as a family.
Because if you don't, in real life, y'all going to separate.
No, bro.
There will be distractions that come to both of you, and one of you is not going to say no.
Exactly.
Y'all need to work together.
Be together.
And then make it happen. And then the kids are going to see you're unified. They'll see you working through the struggles, the good times. They'll see you with the wins and the losses, and all those are important.
And they'll know how to do it when theirs come up.
Yeah, oh man, I'm going to feel really bad. Sorry, Grant. His Grant's daughter. Yeah. I mean, like watching her grow. Like when I first ran into her at one of his conferences in Miami. In Miami, and she was talking, and a little girl, you know, she was standing on the table. Just, you know,
I was at that one. I remember that one.
Were you in like 2020 or something? Yeah. Okay, so he's up, and then you watch her stuff, you know, and he's on the plane or talking whatever, and you know, and he shares a lot of the stuff with the family. Okay, well, this is how this works, and this is how these things work, and those conversations have to have a space to happen.
Yeah.
And he finds a way to integrate that space into
Parenting and love
his
and
parent love
nurturing.
and into his business life. And I think that's super good, because I think a lot of us in the entrepreneurial world get focused so blinders up on trying to build this beast that we neglect.
We leave everything else out.
We neglect a lot of other people, and then wonder, why'd she leave? She left because your ass ain't there.
Exactly.
You put 200% effort into your business and
0%
20% into this relationship, and you're willing to go and invest millions of dollars or hundreds of dollars or 100% of your money, let's say whatever that number is, doesn't matter, into these projects and energy and time, but you won't come by and bake some bread with me.
Exactly.
You won't sit here and just knead some dough while we're BSing and talking about life.
And that's important, dude. When me and Nicole built this business up,
fucked up on.
I
definitely have screwed up in that time.
Oh, what are you talking about?
Yeah, it's like there's time. My wife, to the point where she's sending me TikToks about relationships, which is telling me, you better fucking fix it.
And here's the thing about it. I got those TikToks. I also got downloadable apps to you know what I mean? When you do this, you'll get a notification and let's talk through this. So then I started to realize, especially because women communicate totally different than men. So you have to,
figure it out.
Figure it out.
Yeah, whatever it is.
And don't try to act like you're above figuring it out, buddy. That's the person that a lot of the times, especially, we're the ones that were in hot pursuit. You can't be in hot pursuit and be like, got your ass, sit over there now. It's like, nah, buddy. This was a union thing that we brought up.
You were chasing hardcore.
You were sweating, buddy.
Yeah.
So you better keep up at least a nice little light jog. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of the things, like I said, when we started the business, Nicole and I, to be completely honest with you, that was our youngest at the time, but that was our only child at the time. We were driving for dollars.
Yeah.
In the Volvo. And Saint was in there. When I think about that, and I think, okay, we moved from Volvo to Porsche, and we went from door knocking to having a team of 15 ISAs, right? Well, guess what? I still got to act like we're in that car together. We still got to have those conversations. I am so fast to apologize now, and she'll probably still say, you're pretty molasses. But I'm so much more to be like, man, I dropped that. I dropped, And another thing I realized, Rich, is that she has a totally different skill set than I have.
Yeah.
So she is so much better. I am Barry Bonds it. We got 3 up, let's grand slam this. And I don't care about a minor detail, just pitch the ball, I'm going to knock it out the park. Well, she's the one that goes, well, that pitcher in this particular stadium with this wind, you know what I mean?
Is your wife related to my wife? I'm like, listen, there is no doubt I'm going to win this, so just watch. She's like, but, oh, man.
And so she'll,
I know it makes sense, but I don't care. I'm going to win anyway. Okay.
Well, here's the thing about it. For us, because we're looking at Goliath, that's draining. We're like, buddy, just give me the rocks and the slingshot. Yeah. I got this.
I'm just flinging, baby.
And she's like this, well, it's a little windy today. If you hold that sling up to the left, you'll have a lot closer. I'm like,
I got 3 rocks.
3 rocks. That's all I need. I got 3 shots. I guarantee.
And 2 legs if it goes south.
Exactly. So I've started to realize, wow, my communication style, totally different.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why I love her. And that's the reason why I was attracted to her, because it's she has everything I do not.
Correct. It goes to that contrast. You can't appreciate the plus without the other plus.
And so that's why she is the light side. And that's why she, I told her the other day when we had that light dark conversation, I said, listen, at the end of the day, everything that we need killed, skinned, hung up, frozen, I'm bringing it. And she's like, and every meal we need cooked and counted, and then I'm folding it. I'm like, damn it, you are, but I just don't say that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let me finish this strong, right?
Let me have this win.
But at the end of the day, it is the contrast. It's super important. It has to be done that way, and it's a discipline that I've realized that if we just stay focused on, just if you hit the dialer, you're going to get a lead.
Yeah.
If you hit your text blast, you're going to get a lead. But guess what? Behind that lead, you got to have a skill set. You got to have a conversation. That conversation has to convert to contract. That contract has to convert to close. And so as much as I hate the minor details because I'm so good at throwing out the bait, reeling it in, using dark light, whatever it is, there's still a process that has to happen behind that.
You got to understand the steps.
And you got to understand the steps.
And whether it's in business or in the relationships, you got to understand, okay, if I'm absent, that's not going to work.
It's not going to work.
But if I'm nice, I'm probably going to get better results than if I'm not. If I go and spend energy, one thing.
Well, one thing I realized was this. the things that I'm like, this bothers me. Does it? Like, really, I'm just trying to save energy from another thing that I want to do. So what I really got to do is say, this, I have to learn to be happy about what bothers. Like, just like when I talk about the gym, I'm like, well, you're gonna have to get up early. You're gonna have to do it. So how can she listen to me say all of that stuff, but not give the same effort in an? You know what I mean?
I've gotten that. I've gotten called out on that. Yeah, you're like
it's impossible for her to listen to them. Oh, this and that's so hard. You're gonna have to do it. Then okay, well,
nothing hurts worse than when they say, "Talk to me like you do Facebook." And like,
ooh,
like, hey, sorry.
Put enough energy in that. Give enough attention to that. Do enough. And so while we want to, one of the things that really, to be full transparent, like just was a nut kick from the back for me was when she was like, "It doesn't matter how much you give to me if you don't give, meaning me, to me." Yeah. So like Porsche, big house, rooms, whatever, buddy, I need you to be here with me for that to be something that we enjoy together.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're just buying a hotel.
Hey, that's it.
It's and it has no real value. It's not a home.
Here's where I'm really gonna make myself look beta.
Yeah.
The times where I'm hurt and I need a hug and I want to cuddle, I'm making myself a lot less cuddleable when I'm not.
That's facts.
Investing into my cuddle buddy. Okay.
Yeah. That's
so it's just like, buddy, you had a hard one today, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh, you need something warm for your soul. Well, I'm pretty cold over here because you ain't throwing no blanket on me in a minute.
Yeah.
You just got to do and so it doesn't matter how successful you become or what it is that you want out of your life, or you're going to have to. That's why investing. That's why I love this business, because it teaches you across the board the way to be. The way to live.
That everything that you put energy into will magnify, good or bad.
Good or bad.
So if you're putting energy into making your real estate work, it's going to grow. Eventually, if you just keep making the deposits, it will click, and then it will grow. Same thing with the relationship.
Let me ask you something. This because I've been diving deep into this a lot. How do you so for instance, we all take losses and we all have things that don't go the way that we want to.
Oh my God.
Now, I've gotten really good at just being like, okay, let me rephrase this. What do you think makes you, because you are good at this, and I don't know if you're aware, I'm sure you're aware of this, but I can tell that if things don't go right for you, you just kind of go on to the next thing and let that thing, you put the energy necessary into correcting it without letting it just bog you down.
Yeah, well.
How do you do that, and how would you suggest a person does do that if they have trouble with it?
Like sometimes, the situation happens. So typically what I do in actuality is I have my moment of throwing a temper tantrum. So I'm driving my truck.
Yeah.
And then I go, okay, all right, so because that's not going to solve the problem.
It's not.
Okay, so but I need to get that stress out. So I'm cussing and hollering, moving, whatever. Okay, great. Now that I'm done with that 30 seconds of acting like an idiot. All right, so then
because it's necessary.
Yeah, because it's distracting me from finding the solution.
Well,
that's in the way.
Your exhaust system,
I need
right?
to get that. Yeah, exactly.
Exhausted.
I need to get that smog out.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So now that's out of the way. Now I threw the temper tantrum I wanted to. Now let's grow up here.
Yep.
And then then I start trying to focus on, okay, what is the most likely and easiest applicable solution in this moment, and then is that plausible? Will this solve the problem? Yes, no. If yes, okay, then I put it, apply it, and let's move on. If not, okay, what else do I need to do? And then if I can't get a solution, then I'll just start asking around, or I'll post on Facebook, hey, how do you do this?
Yeah.
And then it'll let 85 other people solve the problem for me, which happens a lot. Like I think a lot of times I try to just understand, for one, most of the negative things that happen in life are not personal.
Yeah,
they're really, even if I'm yelling at you, I'm not probably
really
mad. I'm probably not mad at you. I'm probably mad at this.
Yeah.
And then you just happen to be the one who annoyed me.
Yeah.
So now, so if somebody gets angry at me, or somebody's cussing, or I don't win a case, or whatever it is, somebody cuts me off on the road.
Yep.
I'll tell that story in just a second.
Yeah.
This was a cool story.
Yeah.
That made me kind of refocus religion-wise.
Yes.
A long time ago. But whatever's going on, it's usually not purposefully. We're running on time.
Okay.
It's usually not too directed towards me. So since I kind of believe that and just take that to heart, then when the problems arise, then I'm more focused on how do we just get to the solution. And then as a salesperson, you're overcoming objections is your goal all the time.
Yeah.
You know, how first let me identify, let me isolate, and let me overcome. You know, I want to isolate the objection. I want to figure out what it is, and I want to
what it really is.
Yeah, I want to identify it. Yeah, and then is that the real thing? Okay, great. And then we'll overcome it, whatever that may be. I can't get an eviction. I can't get the house built. I can't do this. I can't whatever it is. You know, we'll get them done. So I think I just have over the years learned not to take things as personal as as my soul wants them to be.
Yes.
And then even though
maybe as your ego wants them to be.
My ego too,
because you know a lot of times we're like all bent, like I can't believe he said that. Look at the way he's driving, yada yada. And it's like, buddy, they don't even know that you're behind. Like they're not even aware.
They're not paying. They're paying no attention to you, like you were paying no attention to them.
Exactly.
You know,
until something became an impedance.
Yeah.
And now you're like, it's directed at me, and it's like, no,
they didn't care about you.
They don't.
You're not that important,
and they haven't even looked at you.
Yeah, I remember I told that to one of the sales guys one time. I said, "Listen, you're not that important.
You're not."
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to. What do you mean? I was like, they pays you no attention.
Has nothing to do with you.
And they're like, well, that's kind of fucked up. And like, not really,
at all.
Like, I'm just
you don't want it to be.
It doesn't. It's not you.
You don't even want it to
let
be
it go.
You.
And he's
if
like,
it
okay.
was really you,
and
you'd be.
Then you can see his shoulders. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Okay, and then he went on his little merry way and was fine. But that was the same deal. So.
Before we get out of here, tell me what happened on the road.
That car? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm driving down the road, right? And this guy cuts me off.
Yeah.
So I'm fucking pissed.
Yeah.
Because, at that time I'm 20 or ish. And so then I want to fight Eric.
That's all you got to say.
And make money.
Yeah.
Or like, that's it. And so you get laid. There's like three.
Yeah. Those are like the top three. Yeah.
So then I'm going boom, 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 boom. So I'm driving. This guy cuts me off, and then it forces me to slow down.
Yes.
Okay. And then he goes off another direction, and instead of speeding up, which I normally would have done, I just threw a little temper tantrum and stayed at a slower speed. Well, then this dude from the other road runs a fucking red light.
Yeah.
Like, while my light's solid green for the whole time.
Yeah.
And I would have, I don't know for sure, but it just seems logical that I would have
T-boned. Yeah.
And then however that would have played out wouldn't have been friendly. So at that moment, though, instantaneously in that fraction of momental nano of a second, I went from mad to thank you.
Thank you, and let me chill out.
Yeah, I was like, hey, thanks.
Yeah, that's trauma.
You know what I mean?
Trauma only takes it's a fork in the road.
Like, thanks, man.
You either go to gratefulness or you go to complete oblivion, idiocy.
All right, so I got one question for you. So if you can leave everybody here with one tidbit, one nugget of good information, something that resonates with you that you think would resonate with everybody else, what do you think?
You know what it is? It's like, try it. If it's in your mind and like you want to do it, especially like, I don't care. Like we talked about a lot today: relationships, business, everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Family.
And we talk fast, so it works out well. Yeah,
we're in sales. So here's the thing,
he's gonna slow it down.
Try it, man. Try it. Give yourself the opportunity to have the opportunity.
Yeah.
So many times we want it so bad. And like you said, we go through into the minor details. What if they call and then it doesn't go and it's time and I miss the flight?
Analysis paralysis.
Like Nike. Just do it.
Just do it, yeah. I'm with you. Analysis paralysis and fail forward are things I like to talk about a lot.
Yeah.
Just quit over-analyzing it. Just do it. And if you mess up, figure it out.
A lot of people are planning way more than they're doing, and that's the problem.
Yeah, you ain't getting done.
Yeah.
Well, man, it's good to see you.
It's always a pleasure.
It's always a pleasure. Let's come up here again.
I'm going to be up here again. You invite me back. I like this whole... Yeah.
All right, so this is Carlos. How do they find you again, man?
At Carlos Puckerin on everything. TikTok, Insta. You find me. Put in Carlos Puckerin in Google. I'm going to pop up.
There it is. Okay, guys. Thank you all for coming to the Richard M. Shelton podcast for No Excuse Real Estate. Here with Carlos. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for watching our podcast, Richard M. Shelton, No Excuse Real Estate. Please like, comment, and share. I want to see and want to connect with you more. If you like what you see, we're going to continue to bring quality content and quality guests. Don't forget to check out my TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I look forward to seeing you there.